welcome to Mind Your Business, the channel where we are in everybody's business. If you don't mind getting in people's business, you're on the right channel. Talking about current topics and gossip.
Well, what the hell is going on here? Because you've got Matt and Adrian, a hot mess, and you've got Sean and Mark, also a hot mess. I'm like, what footage are we not seeing? Because there's definitely some unedited stuff that has happened that we need to be uncovering here, because why are they crashing so fast? Did the experts just like pull these couples like from the back drawer and pull them together? Because this is not making any sense to me. While going to my inclusive crew, let's talk about Married at First Sight. Now, you know, I do love a dinner party. All the drama does take place at a dinner party. And of course, it happened here. So you've got some people coming in that I thought dressed like Big Bird, but, you know, or you could say maybe Disney princesses. Well, mean Disney princesses, I should say. But it was an interesting one. So let's start with Jordan and Erica. Now, obviously, they missed out on the swap situation because we heard on the show where Jordan spoke up and said that, you know, he's been dealing with mental health and he's got the OCD diagnosis. He was also kind of struggling from the back of dealing with the Luke situation because he's had his own, you know, personal traumas. So he was quite adamant that he didn't want to do the swap. Erica was quite adamant in saying that she's standing by her man, and if he doesn't want to do that, then she's fine with that. And I was like, okay, well, that's good. You seem like you're quite fine with it. Fast forward to today, and because she's hearing about everyone's stories about it, and you've got Ross saying how wonderful it was, and Laura dropping seeds in her mind about you missed out on it, and you can't just be putting his feelings above yours. I feel like she now feels like she's got FOMO, which is understandable. You know, everyone sounds like they had a good time. You didn't get to partake in that. That's fair. But the bit I didn't like is where you seem to have just thrown your husband under the bus. You know, you guys came in together quite strong, and then you get around the dinner table, you let Laura get in your ear, forgetting that Laura is already bitter with Jordan because Jordan told her about, you know, the fact that their relationship isn't very strong, her and Arthur, and that she belittles him and he stood on his square. So I don't think she's really got her being a bonnet about that. So I feel like this is her point to get her lick back, and she certainly did by saying, you know, oh, you took away the opportunity. The language that she used I thought was quite inflammatory and kind of triggered him. He was a bit defensive anyway, and we know he's really struggling with his mental health, and I felt like Erica could have been more supportive while saying, yeah, you know what, I felt bad that I missed out, and, you know, explaining her point of view. She didn't have to shout and get all like loud and stuff. I just thought it was just unnecessary and very rude. And then when they did go and have a little chat together, she just was just shouting at him. Both of them weren't listening to each other. You know, she wants to be validated, which is fine, but so does he. Also fine, but you're not going to get that if you keep shouting at each other. So I just felt like she just came across quite bitchy, you know, saying, you know, well, F him and he can F off. It was just like, seriously, lady? You've come to the party quite happy. You've heard a couple of people say it's nice, and now you're flipping out your husband. Like, come on, do better. As well as throwing him under the bus. You know, Jordan obviously got heated and he feels like, you know, they're trying to imply that he's controlling her. I don't think that's what it was. I just feel like she could have probably handled it better, and he could have been a bit more chilled, not as defensive, but I feel like she could have been much more respectful. She came across quite rude, quite disrespectful at that point in time, knowing that he's dealing with a lot. I don't know if the other group know that he has OCD and things like that, so she's aware of that. They might not be aware of that. So I didn't like the way that was handled at all. But what I thought was really nice was that Thomas did take Jordan aside a bit earlier, you know, when they first came in, and let him know that, you know, he doesn't want him to isolate himself and that he will be there for him. And because obviously they've got a little bit of a frosty reception. And then Laura and Arthur. Now, their letter was on point because, like I've been saying, you know, I do feel like she belittles him. I don't feel like he's what she actually wants. I don't know what Arthur actually wanted. I feel like maybe is you know, Arthur's trying to make himself what he feels like she wants, trying to change himself. And clearly, you know, based on yesterday, you can see that Laura wants someone like Thomas. And to be fair, when I did see Thomas and I saw Laura at the start of the show, I thought, well, those two probably should have been paired together because he seems more like her kind of Chelsea person. Although I'm quite happy with him being with Ross, to be fair. Arthur's back definitely got up with that letter. And I don't understand why, because it's clear to see that Laura is not that into him. Even when he says, look at each other in the eye and said, can you see a future with me? It was dead silence. Crickets. Yeah, tumbleweed, crickets, all that. Because she is just not there with him. And clearly we see from what's going to come tomorrow, it looks like he doesn't fit into her Chelsea life, which I figured would be the case. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. On to Adrian and Matt. You know, it was really awkward to watch that one because I felt like Matt is just so clueless to her feelings. You know, she wants out from what I can see. You know, she thinks he's boring. She doesn't think he's really fun. And I feel a bit bad for Matt because I just feel like I said, he's a bit clueless. But based on his interactions with Peggy, I do feel like he comes across a bit boring. But that could just be the edits that they show, because him, talking about, oh yeah, our apartments are pretty much similar. Oh yeah, just, sitting there talking about that. I was like, this is a bit weird. And then even the interaction about the gym situation where she asked for a funny story, obviously it wasn't funny to Peggy. It was just a bit of an awkward silence. But it could be that Matt's getting a bit of a bad edit. He seems like he's quite a chill guy, but I just don't see them as compatible. She wants him to be more emotionally available as well and connected. And to be quite fair, I feel like she wants George because she realised that George is more on her level. But yeah, that's not good news for Matt. But also Matt is a bit delusional there as well, because he's saying, oh, we're all good. But she's telling you we're not good, so you're not listening. So that to me is just not really going to go anywhere. That relationship, I don't see it going anywhere. But we shall see. Now, Paul and Tasha. Now, Tasha. What the hell? Everyone's got letters around the table. Every couple got letters around the table. So what makes you think you're so special that you have to call out, oh, well, who wrote this letter? Just deal with it. Just take the constructive criticism and deal with it. What's your problem? I didn't like that. It was very mean girl energy. The letter mentioned Tasha's attitude and that maybe Paul needs to be a bit more firm. Now, her attitude is definitely obviously an issue, because we saw from yesterday that they had a big fallout, and she only apologised when he got back from the swap. I'm glad that she did apologise, but I'm also glad that Paul put his foot down and said, basically, you crossed the boundary there. Doesn't like the disrespect, because she keeps going about, oh, well, I'm fiery. He wanted a fiery person. There's fiery, and then there's feisty, ranking, rude, and disrespectful. And you came across as latter, yeah? Very rude, very ranking, very disrespectful. So you didn't need to do that, yeah? Because I don't understand what you're doing there, And even yesterday when they showed the whole thing with you and Paul, clearly, Paul, to me, is quite a nice guy. He seems like he's quite easy to get along with. But she's definitely kicks off. We've seen her kick off at Erica. We've seen her kick off on the show. So she admits that she's a fiery character. But you still have to learn to control your emotions and control yourself and take constructive criticism, because, everybody's got something to say on everyone's relationship. That was the part of the task. That's what everyone had to do. It was supposed to be anonymous for a reason. George didn't have to open up his mouth and say anything, but I felt like because it was from George, she didn't really push back too much. I feel like if that letter was from Erica, she would have kicked off even more. That's just my fault on that. George and Peggy, the usual stuff, she doesn't think intimacy is that important at the moment. So, it is what it is. And he keeps saying he can wait. So, whatever. Ella and JJ, I agree with the letter in terms that she could tone it down with always talking about sex, but I think that comes down to her insecurities, which, they mentioned in the letter. But onto Mark and Sean, the letter telling them that they appear to be more, is it friends? Are they just friends, or are they trying to move it on? Really was the straw that broke Sean's back, it would seem, because essentially he just called it off straight after that. And I will say I did feel bad for Mark. I do feel bad for Sean too, because I felt like Mark was definitely, quite a needy person. And I feel like he just wants to be loved. And I suppose starting off the wedding by saying, don't hurt me, put that pressure on Sean. Sean, to me, is also someone who seems like he just runs all the time and is not necessarily as emotionally available as he could be. And so maybe he felt like he was walking on eggshells around him. But I just think it's better that they are separate. But I just feel sad for Mark in this situation, which I didn't think I would, actually, because, when I first saw him, I just thought, Lord have mercy, this diva man. But actually, I hope they both find happiness. And the couple who are doing well and who were cracking me up were Thomas and Roz, because they were in their own wonderful world of sexdom, weren't they? With their vibrating eggs and having their own little giggle over there. So I was like, okay, you guys have come on leaps and bounds. You're not over there having your own fun while everybody else is got drama around the table. But what did you guys think of the show? Let me know your thoughts below.
Yes, so thanks for watching that. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, and hit that notification bell so you know when I am uploading some more of people's business. So until then, my nosy people, stay blessed.